Good Friday morning, and welcome to Ice Age TV, the internal combustion engine age YouTube channel that talks about all my cars and trucks and motorcycles and SUVs and dogs, life, property, all that good stuff, right? Attitudes. Yeah, wow, just another incredible, beautiful day. Wow, just incredible. I'm there for those that subscribe and those that just want to see my channel. Appreciate the opportunity to talk to you. Yeah, do I like to talk? I do like to talk, and that's what I do every morning, Monday through Friday. I do about a 30-40 minute conversation, and I just like to share my ideas and views and thoughts and the love of my life, which is all my cars and trucks and motorcycles and all that good stuff. And just me wanting to share with you my life of living around the cars and my addictions. I mean, there's no doubt. You know, do I know that? It's been going on my whole life. It's never been any different from when I just got going in life. And does that anger some people in my life? It does. That's a challenge. When you're a married man and you have a wife, do you think she gets angry at me a lot? She does. Yes, I know. I understand. It gets heavy and deep, which we won't do that in the channel this morning. But you're hearing the word anger, and I thought to myself, boy, could we end the week of the different themes with anger, even though it should be the holiday cheer. But that's still kind of just now beginning on the Black Friday as we get into the garage here, the muscle car Ice Age garage with all my vehicles. And wow, I got motivated yesterday to clean up my shop. Yeah, I mean, motivated gets this bench just drives me nuts. He doesn't have that. Does anybody remember Orange County Choppers with Paul Tuttle Sr. and Paul Tuttle Jr., where Sr. would go off on Paul Jr. about his disarray of his tools and his workbench in the shop, and they get into major blowouts? Does anybody remember all that? Yeah, that's the good old days of the Orange County Choppers series that started off like in 2001 or 2. Hey, come on, Will. Where the father and son were always angry at each other. I mean, can I use a better example of life of a father and son relationship of anger? Yeah, if anybody here is family, which we all are, you know the anger is can really happen very easily. And that whole show, it totally revolved around the anger. That's why people watch that show, including myself, because you constantly saw the father getting angry at his son. Come on, pups. Come on, boy. Come on, Will. So I thought the word anger would be a great conversation, and also altruism. Altruism, I think, is a great conversation today. The word of the day, altruism, which is so interesting what's going on right now, the artificial intelligence world. We'll go into that more deeper later, but altruism is about the better of mankind for those who sacrifice themselves to help others. And I'll read you the definition later. But basically, it's about the humanity of mankind looking out for one another for it to be better and not worse. And that has a lot to do right now with Sam Altman and OpenAI. But let's get the anger conversation theme going on the cars, because take my words, my verbs, my nouns, adjectives. I like to talk about how in our life these vehicles give us so much joy, but at the same time they create such anger. Just like I said a minute ago, for my wife, she's been married to me for a long time, and an anger in our relationship has been my addictions to buying cars all the time. She just isn't that type of person. And so for her, it's been very challenging in a relationship with me, because she's angry at me because she sees that I spend my money in her eyes and views foolishly. And that's a hard, long, deep conversation. But the point is, these vehicles, it's such incredible in how these vehicles create such happiness, but at the same time, they create such unhappiness. I mean, sadly, we know of so many people that die in these vehicles every year. I mean, very sad that, how many people die in a car crash every year. Is it 36,000 people, 42,000 people, 50,000 people? I mean, worldwide, it's massive. Same thing with motorcycles. How many people die in motorcycle crashes every year? The point is, you get such glee and happiness out of these vehicles, but at the same time, it creates unhappiness. And how would you take the unhappiness? Well, as you just told you might have a wife or a husband or a friend that goes out and buys a car that you don't like, or don't like how they bought their car and spent money. And that creates the anger factor in relationships. The jealousy factor is even there through friends that just get jealous because somebody is bigger and better than them in their own eyes. That's a huge challenge. Who wants to hang out with a rich person if you're not very rich? And they just flaunt all their excess of everything they have. And that's one thing about my YouTube channel, that I never really wanted to do a YouTube channel, because I just felt like it would radiate just what I said. I felt it would radiate back to people, oh, this guy thinks he's so special. This guy's rich. This guy, it's all about me. I mean, really, sincerely, I just really didn't want to do a YouTube channel for so many years, because, wow, are those guys angry at each other? Wow, the geese have shown up. It's that time of the year, and the pond is ready for them, because the lily pad foliage, which made me so angry, has been, the nutria ate all my lily pad stuff. I was blessed. Pray for a miracle. Wow, look at that. That's something. Boy, they're all gabbing, and wow, what are they all talking about, right? In their geese language. So anyways, once again, it's all about the anger that sadly comes from these vehicles. And one thing that I think that more than ever has been angry, making people angry, is the price of these cars. And the dealership, in so many ways, of the way they treated you. But here, let's go to the electric vehicle. I like to use electric vehicle because I think that what's interesting is there is incredible anger in today's society by a movement of the green agenda. And the green agenda is extremely angry with the Iceman, because he's the guy that's addicted to the Ice Age. He's a guy that wants to have as many cars and trucks and motorcycles that he can possibly park in his driveway and afford to enjoy the Ice Age of his lifetime. The EV agenda, the green activists, they don't like that. They truly look at this as but me, I am ruining the future of mankind. I'm not making it better for the future because of all my material possessions. The greed, you can go heavy and deep of somebody in the outside view looking at me and, kind of start critiquing who I am. And they think that I'm the wrong individual to be promoting what I'm promoting. I mean, they just, as far as, me self-enriching myself at the expense of others. Yeah, okay, right. Whole point is the green agenda is angry. And it's an underlying message through their actions of what they're trying to create for the future. And I think they're getting angrier because individuals like me, and I think some of you that follow my channel, are on the same page. We're just not buying into the electric vehicle solves Mother Nature's, the world problems. And the challenges of the infrastructure that are having to be undertaken to make this become more of a realistic form of transportation is a major expense to the governing bodies, citizens that pay into the tax funds to try to create this. And in so many ways, this angers even people on the Ice Age. This angers people that are witnessing Joe Biden's Inflation Reduction Act that's handing out billions of dollars to, in so many ways, enrich the big guys to bring this electric revolution to the transportation sector over the next, really, 10 years. It's 2035. That's all you hear. It's 2035. And once again, the underlying message in so many ways is the anger. Joe Biden's administration truly angers many people of his policies and ideology. And so you have to say to yourself, it's like, what is going on? I mean, why is there the rush to 2035 that every car has to be electric? Why? I mean, why? Where is there a timeline in this sky above me and the earth below me here that says by 2035 this world's going to come to a catastrophic end if not everything's electric vehicles? And that's where the anger grows on all these policies and agendas that are just really, I just know so many watch my channel are like, yeah, it's just beyond believable what, in so many ways, these individuals in power get away with. All right, here's the plum crazy. Here's the Hondas. If you're watching, a Honda hat on, right? Got my Honda hat on. And one of my, Mr. Sanchez reached out this morning and said, I've got a crooked arrow of ownership of my Indian. So which, okay, I kind of get that message there, but I don't know. I don't know if I do get that message. So there's just, man, I tell you, every day I'm catching these mice, and I put cheese in this thing, and they figure out how to get in there and get the cheese out. What's interesting is, then I don't put the cheese in the middle of the day, they capture themselves. They create their own destiny by, let's look up here. Oh, so here, same thing. It had cheese in there yesterday when I left the shop last night. And so they'll probably go back in looking for more. Then he activates the trap door. Yeah, if you watch my channel, you know the anger of me of my Indian pursuit. Everybody here saw so much content on that for me, I was very disappointed and starting to become angry of the process of Indian using me as a guinea pig to try to figure out what's wrong with a brand new motorcycle. It's got a steering problem in the front end. So yeah, did I have anger in that? I did. Thank goodness the end result wasn't me being angrier, but them taking care of me and making things right. Once again, it's all about the cars, and it's the same rhetoric. It's the same story. What is Dodge doing to its customer base? They're making their customer base angry because the message is they're going all electric. I don't know if I've said it many times recently. I'm not so sure that's going to really play out the way they said it did. They may be retracting, and they may be rethinking that because they've heard so many people being angry at the fact that Dodge, the king of muscle, is abandoning the king of muscle to a battery pack. I mean, wow, right? For me, yesterday, if you watched my channel yesterday, I was getting frustrated and angry the day before because my new Ford Mustang Dark Horse came in that I ordered, and it looked like my sales guy had ordered incorrectly. I'm like, there's no way I'm going to pay $80,000 for a Ford Mustang non-Shelby product, even though the Dark Horse is a Shelby in disguise. Okay, so just for those people who watch my channel, the Dark Horse Mustang is basically a Shelby. They just renamed it a Dark Horse, but it's a Shelby GT350 in so many ways. But where they goofed up, they didn't change out the different motor. Ford has been really creative on, like, the Voodoo motor was the name of the motor that was the dominant engine, only option for the GT350. That's what they called it, a Voodoo motor, race motor. The true and tried 5.0 Coyote motor is just so many applications that this motor is in. It's everywhere. So the Coyote motor is the most dominant motor in the Ford Mustang GT V8. You go to the GT500, what I had, they went to the Predator motor, which that was a supercharged 760 horsepower motor, which no longer is built. Yeah, the GT500 Predator motor is no longer built. They renamed that motor to put it in a Ford Raptor truck, F-150R, to like the, I can't think of the name off the tip of my tongue. So I'm very surprised that Ford didn't put a 5.2 Predator motor, non-supercharged, in the Dark Horse, just to make it a little more creative, a little bit more fun. And it made it, you know, the 5.0 in this is like 480 horsepower. The Dark Horse is 20 horsepower more. So it's 500 horsepower. So you get a bump. So when you go buy the Dark Horse car, you're getting a bump on the horsepower. You're getting different underpinnings for the suspension. You're getting, you know, in all sincereness, I'd have to get really out the whole spec sheet to give you a big, you know, breakdown. But here's the thing. If I had a Dark Horse emblem on this 5.0 right there, I can about guarantee you, and I put a nice little black stripe kit on the top of this hood, I can about guarantee you most people would say, that's a Dark Horse. And I'd say, yeah, it's a Dark Horse. I mean, but it's not. It's not a factory Dark Horse. I made it look like one. But even if you see the video, for me, will the dealership make me happy today by me going to check out this car and see if I think it is what it is and look at it? Or is it going to sit in the back lot and they don't get to it all day long? I don't know. That's another adventure. But anyways, Ford, I think what's very interesting about Ford is so much still on the ICE age for the performance side of their vehicles. But at the same time, Ford's own CEO has actually angered himself. I think Jim Farley realizes more than ever that he's got caught up in the angry Green Agenda boardroom members that have forced the hand to go electric. And in so many ways, I think Jim Farley deep down is very angered because he's been the guy that's been pushing this electric revolution and really changing the dynamics of the Ford infrastructure of how they sell cars. He's come up with all these crazy ideas that have angered so many Ford dealership owners and managers. I mean, you can just go back a year ago and listen to my conversation about how Jim Farley was going to make it dealer-only order inventory. Did you just hear me? He was going to try to follow Elon Musk business plan where the only way dealers would have inventory is if a person ordered a vehicle. Otherwise, there'd be nothing on their lot. Stupidest idea in the world for these big dealers that have always had success of people walking on a lot like the Iceman at the last second gets excited and buys something instead of having to order something wait 2-3 months. So that angered the Ford dealer infrastructure, and Jim Farley had to eventually walk away from that. Jim Farley and Ford are demanding these dealers update the infrastructure for electric vehicle charging and the actual physical presence and look of the dealerships, that they have to spend millions of dollars to refresh the dealership to cater to electric vehicle infrastructure. That has angered so many dealers, they don't want anything to do with it. And then Jim Farley's ploy was, well, if you don't play that game, you don't get electric vehicles. Well, here's the end result. These dealers that have updated their dealerships and have been so lucky to get these EV vehicles, now they can't get rid of them. So where do you think the anger factor is there for those dealerships that have spent this money? Where do you think the anger factor is from the board members, shareholders? Well, you realize it or not, Ford stock a year ago was $19 a share. Today, it's like a $9 stock. So the stock is half of what it used to be. Under Jim Farley's anger management on basically threatening people, you have to do this and do that. And in the end, I'm sure he looks at himself in the mirror and he's angry at himself for his leadership of not really being great leadership. He caved to the others, the board members, and the outside powers that have made him do what he does. There's more to it than that. There's a lot of people involved in that. So this isn't just all Jim Farley. But the point is, he's angered a lot of people. Has he angered me? Yeah, because I paid premium price for these cars, and now these cars don't have much value. Yeah, these cars in so many ways are worth half. Anybody knows you buy a new car, you're going to see a 20%, a good 10%, 20% loss of value. If you spend 50 grand a car, the reality is you'll be lucky to get 40 grand for it to trade it back in. So that's a good 20% loss. But if you buy a $50,000 car and it's worth 25 grand, I mean, in so many ways, that's where these vehicles are. That white Mustang was like a $72,000 or $74,000 car. That car today, I imagine I would get like 40 or 42 for it at best. That truck there is a $90,000 truck. Today, my guess would be they give me maybe 50 for it. So it's not exactly 50%, but it's a huge difference in the value of the vehicle compared to what most vehicles are. You take that Ford F-250 Tremor truck. My sales guy was begging me to give up this F-250 truck last week for the F-450 two-door. I was like, there's no way. He's like, that thing has incredible value. You need to sell it. I'm like, no, I'm not selling it. That truck there, it just doesn't lose value. My Ford Bronco down there in front of my house, that thing, they want that. They're like, give us that. We'll order you another one to get this deal done because it has such great value. Yeah, but I'm like, no. No, you're not getting that. You want to get me angered? I'm like, we're not doing that deal. Even though they tried to structure a deal, I think, no. Back in the shop, I rode the Honda Foreman Rubicon yesterday, and this is such a great machine. I've had some of these Hondas, and here's a great example of a product I can ride that thing, keep it a year, keep it 2, and I can pretty much get I'm not going to get 10 grand for it, but could I get 7,500 to 8 grand for it? Yeah, especially if you take good care of it. I've had a few of my ATVs that I've kept for a few years, and I've sold them close to what I paid for them because of inflation. This thing here, over here, the Plum Crazy, I mean, wow. I talk about it all the time. A lot of people reach out to my channel like, cool cars, but they're all going to get stolen. Yeah, right. I know. I get it. Over here, I rode my CB650R for the first time yesterday, which this is more about the kid than me. I was blown away on how different these bikes are. I did a little review video. I mean, I just rode it up around the street, up the block. I am just taken back how this bike here, I mean, it's not good. I mean, it's not better. This CB1000R is so much more comfortable in my style riding per se of me going to that type of bike. This here is just so different. The front end, the steering is just really so nimble and fragile. I mean, you turn the steering, the bike instantly reacts. I mean, it's a great bike for, I think, a younger person and a smaller person, that it's just so light and nimble, and you could do so much with it. I just like the heavier footprint on the motorcycle. And for me, riding this Triumph Rocket and then jumping onto the Honda CB, I can feel how this is a much lighter motorcycle. Yeah, am I angry at these? I'm not. Were the manufacturers back in the 70s angry at Honda? Yes, that's what put the Hidaka. I have the Hidaka. If you know what Hidaka is, I have the Hidaka plate, personal plate, that I got to put on my car. I just saw this the other day. Look at this here. Got to show this to you. See this here? If you're a motorcycle enthusiast, you'll know what that is. A Hidaka, okay? And what I do is I put these on my Hondas, and people are like, that's a Honda. It's not a Hidaka. They think I'm just spelling it differently, but Hidaka, there's a great story to that company that was around, went bankrupt. Older guys brought it out of bankruptcy. But Honda and Yamaha, the Elsinore, CR125 Elsinore, this is back in the early 70s. The Honda ruined Hidaka. Hidaka was really like the original hair scrambler style dirt bike, motocross bike. They were the guys that really got back in the 60s, that really started that whole hair scramble, which is basically motocross and backwooding type of racing. And when Honda showed up, that totally ruined the Hidaka company, because these Hondas and Yamahas, and I don't know if Suzuki was there or not, Kawasaki, all those guys transitioned in, and they were less expensive bikes and they were better built bikes. So that angered Hidaka. Yeah, it angered Hidaka, where they lost sales. And, they weren't known to be the best built bikes. Even then, back then, the guys that bought out Hidaka was using China to make these bikes. So, wow, early beginnings of that, right? Harley and Indian, is it a constant anger? I mean, there have been for so many years the anger between the two brands that Harley dealers won't even take an Indian in on trade. Did you hear me? Mm-hmm. The anger from Harley-Davidson to Indian, because Indian is taking Harley-Davidson sales. This is a fact. The new CEO, the Puma guy, years ago mandated no non-branded used bikes in showrooms at standalone only Harley dealers. There still are Harley dealers out there that are multi-brand dealers. Not a lot, but for the most part, standalone Harley dealers cannot sell any other product besides a Harley product. So if they take a trade in an Indian, it never even goes to showroom. It goes right to the wholesaler to auction, basically. That's why, and once again, Harley does this to anger the Indian person that shows up to buy the Harley, because you already know that you're at a total disadvantage of bringing your Indian to that Harley dealership, because Harley can't put it on their showroom floor. In all sincereness, would a guy that works at a dealership here take my Indian and knows that would be a good product for him to put in his showroom and try to sell? It would. But the Harley franchise agreements, dealer agreements, owner-principal agreements, you can't do that. But I do give Harley-Davidson credit for that. And I've talked about it before, that when you go to a motorcycle dealership and you're fixated on buying that Harley, and all of a sudden you start walking around the used section and you see this Indian here, I can promise you it's going to get a person now to start being focused on an Indian. And that's why Harley doesn't want other brands in their dealership, because it angers the big guys at Harley, knowing that the consumer is then going to probably leave the dealership and go to the Indian dealer and end up buying a Challenger over a Road Glide. It's a no-brainer. So, but for you as a consumer, it can be aggravating if you're wanting to trade out of something besides. It could be a Honda motorcycle. It could be a BMW motorcycle. It doesn't matter. When you go to a Harley dealer, you're going to be, and what's really interesting is a lot of these Harley dealers are starting to advertise, we want your bikes, whatever brand it may be. Because they know what I just talked about is a sticking point that makes it hard for them to bring all types of brands of motorcycles to their dealership to be able to get them to buy a Harley. Oh, it's just always the car conversations and what's going to anger people here shortly. I think it's going to anger people. You have no idea how many times I run across people. And I tell them, this Dodge product's going to be no longer. Like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, the Dodge Challenger and Charger, it's over. And so they're not the real motorhead. I get it. They're not fixated on this stuff. They're like, what do you mean they're not making them anymore? Like, they won't make them anymore. So many people next year, I think, are going to be angry. And the anger then rolls over into, stealing, right? Wow. All right, stolen conversations, losing conversations, or I should say stolen conversations, the quitting conversations, the losing conversations, the tradition conversations, and now we have the anger conversations. And I just so think that is such the appropriate conversation, because here's something that's pretty cool for the, I found something here last night. Look at this here. See this right here? That's from that Ford Bronco. That's how much they're trying to get for that black Bronco in front of my driveway. Did they get that out of me? No. Are you kidding me? They tried. Did some fool pay that out there? Sure did. So, anyways, the Altruism talk. Get up here, get the morning going, get the day going. Friday, hard to believe another Friday has come and gone. And, here's the dogs, all patiently waiting to go to work. Yeah, where's the kid? Where's my kid? One of my subscribers is like, I can't believe your kid's on the videos. Where the heck is she? Well, she's with Mama and Grandmama, and she's having fun down in Tennessee, which I'm glad. I think that's a great thing for her to be down there. But here's the thing. She's going to bring back my race truck. She's going to bring back my race truck. How about that, huh? That's coming back home. When's the last time? I think that race truck's been down there now since like last May, June. I can't remember. I don't even know. When's the last time we saw the race truck, right? Get all the stuff here, get the heater going, get the lights on action. And here's the word of the day. Okay, so it's from the France. French. So here it is. Altruism is a principle and practice of concern for the well-being and or happiness of other humans or animals above oneself. So the reason I'm talking about this word altruism, and I'm sure a lot of people know this, I'm just sharing my own, what I read and hear. So this is a huge movement in our world today. There's groups of people. There's literally, there's organizations. There's altruism organizations. It's massive. It's like I talked to you about the green agenda that has bodies around the world that are contributing billions of dollars for their agendas to get their agendas to, like I just talked about, the green agenda, the car agenda, the whole ESG thing, so many different things. But altruism is also a huge movement in our society today, more than ever, that's backed by major universities and corporations. And whether you realize it or not, the reason I'm bringing this up is because of this guy, Sam Altman, and this guy, Greg Brockman, that were removed last week, a week ago Friday. people got news that Sam Altman was removed from his tenure at OpenAI, which is the Chat GPT, which is the generative pre-trained transformer, which is all about the artificial intelligence. And so people were befuddled and puzzled why the immediate removal of Sam Altman. So I've done a lot of reading and research on this, and this altruism is one of the main reasons he was removed, because there's 3 key ladies on this board that actually are key to this altruism movement, and they're funded through the businesses they work with. And these are very high-ranking, very intelligent, smart, successful women that are on the board of OpenAI. And if you know the common knowledge of board members that oversee the direction of the company and the CEO's behavior, CFO, they're the micromanagers of the business. They don't actually work there. They're more and more the guiding principles of the company to stay on track, to be doing the right things and not the wrong things. And so what's coming to light is, the first thing that's coming to light is, nobody yet to date understands why these 3 women voted him out. These 3 women literally voted Sam Altman out of his job because they felt like he was not candid. He wasn't above board. Okay, so Sam Altman is actually quoted on saying this altruism is weird stuff. He doesn't buy into it. And this is a huge concern for many of the individuals involved in this generative pre-trained transformer, that this technology is being developed in so many ways at rapid speed. And the concern is that the better mankind is going to be sacrificed, that the computers are going to overtake mankind, and it's going to be the end of mankind. I mean, it's a huge concern for the people, the big, deep thinkers. And so the altruism side is this artificial intelligence has to have more of this type of passion and sympathy for others and the well-being of others that's built into this whole artificial intelligence type of dynamics. And I'm by no means a code writer, a computer scientist, an engineer. I'm none of that. I didn't go to college. I'm not that dynamic in that. I'm just reading, and my own brain is just trying to kind of put things together, what I feel is going on. So for Sam Altman, total butting heads of the board members to his views on this artificial intelligence that has been opened up. It's just a year ago that the artificial intelligence, the Chat GPT, was opened up on the internet, and anybody had access to start using this new artificial intelligence. I've talked about it before. It was shut down like in 2020 because of the just incredible bad stuff that was being fed into the into all this stuff. I get somebody calling me. Like, they should know that I'm on my YouTube channel right now talking, but it's okay. So this is a huge concern for these ladies that are overseeing this organization, OpenAI. But the big thing is, Microsoft is the big guy behind the scene. Microsoft, Bill Gates, they have like $9 billion invested of their own monies into OpenAI. OpenAI right now is worth like $88 billion. So the big donators, the big guys are in the background just kind of watching this, and that's why Microsoft was getting a total kick out of this, because in so many ways, Microsoft owns OpenAI. And that's why when everybody, of 700 employees, apparently the majority of them, I already told you this last week, wrote a letter to the board members and told them that if you don't bring Sam Altman back, we're not going to continue to work here. And Greg Brockman as well. We're going to go over to Microsoft. And Microsoft was open arms. I mean, it's a no-brainer. One of my subscribers, Metallica, he's hit it on the head. He's like, well, all that happens then is Microsoft just buys out OpenAI. That's how that plays out. Right. I think you're exactly right. That was a great angle, great point. So here's the thing. What is going on now is Sam Altman, as you know, has been brought back to the table, brought back to run OpenAI. And these 3 ladies have been removed from board members of the company. They're no longer involved. And once again, The huge concern is that this artificial intelligence is being developed where they were supposedly butting heads. I don't have all the inside information, just sharing information I've read. But apparently the women felt that the OpenAI was moving too quickly. And what's very interesting is the background of the moderator, the people that are in the other side of the equation that are looking at what's being built through this artificial intelligence, is not much policing going on. So that's a whole other conversation that's happening right now as we sit here, and I sit here this morning and talk, and people get up in California and start doing their code writing and their continued development of this artificial intelligence. There's not a lot of policing because it's just so new. The world body, governing bodies don't even know how to handle this. They're cracking up when Sam Altman's downtown looking for the government to help monitor this. And in some ways, it's like so contradictory to this guy, Sam Altman. On one way, he's butting heads on the altruism movement that he doesn't really believe in. He doesn't think that's really, he just doesn't follow that type of belief of what's going to make things better for mankind. But at the same time, the guy's going to the federal government to look for help. It's just like beyond believable. I talked about this yesterday at the end of my conversation, my video. You as a parent, family, going to go to the government for the government to figure out how to take care of your problems? I mean, sincerely? I mean, really? But that's what's taught to so many people. I mean, sadly, the political parties teach people that you're going to be better off by the governing bodies, rewarding you and taking care of you. And that's a huge problem because we know that that's not the way it works. We need to take care of our own. I mean, that's what's so important. So anyways, very interesting how Sam Altman is now back in charge. But here's the thing, too. He didn't get back. So there's new board members. And some of the board members, you just read the names. You see these different personalities. It's the wealth of the wealth who are now getting involved in this artificial intelligence. I wonder why, just to enrich themselves more. But at the end of the day, for Sam Altman and Greg Brockman, they're no longer on the board. They've been eliminated from the board. So they're back in their positions, per se, but they're not back in the powers to be where they can be part of these board meetings and try to maneuver what they feel is right versus wrong. And that's what it's all about. It's the right versus wrong. So the anger of this open AI is already, it's kind of disturbing that we're already witnessing the biggest, and there's tons of other artificial intelligence companies out there, but just OpenAI gets the biggest attention because it's the biggest. It's the most common used of the pre-generative trained transformer technology, ChatGPT. But it's disturbing in some ways that we're already witnessing the anger among those trying to manage this future of artificial intelligence that is, I mean, it's already known. Bill Gates has already announced, Microsoft's already announced, every new Microsoft product will have artificial intelligence built into the infrastructure of what you're buying. And once again, it gets so kind of, deep and heavy when you try to just grasp what's going on in front of our eyes, but really behind the scenes. We're just not there. Average person just can't, I don't think the average person can really comprehend what this is all going to transform into. And even to the point now where there's the poorer countries in the world are raising their hands saying there can be no military robots. There can be none. I mean, it's very concerning of other nations that don't have the infrastructure and money. They see the potential of what's going to play out in the upcoming years, where you can have a whole military of robots. I mean, Elon Musk, I mean, these guys, I mean, so many ways. Sam Altman, is this guy a danger and a threat to the world to be? Elon Musk, but I tell you what, I talked about whenever, that Elon Musk would be all over the news 24/7, and they start beating the heck out of Elon Musk. And is it happening? It is happening huge. Why? Because Elon Musk is just kind of telling people the way he sees things, and they don't want to hear it. And sure, I mean, there's definitely views of what he's expressing now that definitely are debatable of what he's trying to convey to others. But wow, it's all about Elon Musk. But here's what I really thought to myself this morning is I talked about how ever since Joe Biden's administration's taken over our country, governing bodies, since really January 2021, I talked about the stolen. The stolen election. All we've heard now since Joe Biden's been in office is the stolen election. The stolen election, the January 6th participants, all that. And then I talked about the quitting. How many people have just given up? That so many people have resorted to drugs, the homelessness, people aspiring to a better job, they just quit or they don't want to work. So we went from then we went to losing. I have to think these through here, all the different conversations. So it's losing and how so many here under this administration, you can feel that you're losing your rights in so many ways. Not really radical, but in so many ways you just feel like what you're witnessing of what the powers to be are doing, but you're losing that confidence in who we are in this country. And then I went to tradition conversations of how yesterday we recognized the tradition of Thanksgiving and how we were witnessing that the traditions of our country are being undermined in so many ways. And so I have thought to myself, boy, has this administration really created more anger than really in any time, modern times? I mean, think it through. Where the anger of Ukraine and Russia is in a war. The anger of the Palestinians and the Jews, they're in a war. I know it can be easy for somebody to say, yeah, but these are world affairs. How can you blame Joe Biden? Well, Joe Biden's policies support us being in a war with Ukraine and Russia. Joe Biden's policies, so many were critical of his interaction with being in Israel and being more active over there to try to keep that area calm. I mean, I get it. It's easy to do the blame game. But the point is, the underlying environment seems to be there's a lot of anger in our country. And I just went through a lot talking about that through just the car sector, of the anger of us not wanting to see the ice age change. You see the anger of so many that are not happy with the inflation. Here's a very interesting statistic. It's a poll. It's the most recent poll that just came out on the Wall Street Journal that I read this morning. The poll is that a year ago, they reached out and asked people what they felt of the future and the dream of this country, of your well-being. 68% said they felt pretty good. Same poll, 1 year later, the poll is now 36%, so close to half. So just in 1 year, the attitude, the anger, I think that, they interviewed select people, and the underlying you feel from individuals is the anger. We have this incredible anger that's happening among us. So it's really bad. I can't emphasize enough, anybody that's watching my channel, you can't get caught up in the anger of what the Democratic Party is doing right now. On X, I really don't even stand X anymore. It is so bad because all these Democratic people are angry. And it's really weird. Because I think to myself, it doesn't make any sense that Joe Biden was elected as your president, as a Democratic individual. But you're now attacking the Republican and conservative views of our country, but yet you have the powers to be that's created where we are today, and you're attacking us to make sure that we don't vote again next year, and that the only guy that should be put back in office is Joe Biden. And this very strong anger, I mean, it's pretty bad. If you get on there, you'll get revved up. You'll become angry reading all these posts from these Democratic individuals, Democratic personalities, actors, and successful people, and they are constantly belittling the conservative base. And they're creating anger. You just think to yourself, I don't understand why you guys are so angry. Why are you so worried about next year's election? If things are really that great and that things are really that good, why would you be concerned? I mean, does this make any sense to you? I mean, if you're in a good relationship, are you going to be getting angry at your spouse and worried that she's not going to stay with you and that's how you manage your relationship? I mean, this is how the Democratic Party is operating right now. And I talked about this in great length many times throughout this past year, that once 2024 hits, the anger is going to be through the roof. And who has the Democratic been the most angry at besides Donald Trump? They've spent the whole time Joe Biden's been in office attacking Donald Trump. But why? Why should they be angry at the Republicans and conservative views of this country if they have winning ways and everything's great, and that if you were a Republican and everything's just so great under Joe Biden, you would vote for Joe Biden? Why would you have to be tarnished? Why would you have to be told you're incompetent? I mean, this is where it is. So, wow. Yeah, and what happens from that is, sadly, you witness what the January 6th participants got caught up in was the anger. They got so angry by the media machine, tarnishing them and challenging their views, that they finally, in so many ways, let their anger be seen. And how'd that all play out, right? So for anybody watching my channel, I'm telling you, the smartest thing you can do is don't get angry. It's not worth it. Because I think if you've been on this earth long enough and you've been around long enough, you see the people who are angry in the end lose. Have you ever witnessed this in sports? I mean, I've witnessed this so many times in sports. Once a person starts getting angry and frustrated, they lose the game. That's why the Tom Brady's of the world, you can go through the list, Djokovic, the tennis player, Tiger Woods. You can just go through the list of incredible, talented athletes in the world that were under dire circumstances in the game that they had to try to win and prevail. And they didn't let the anger overtake their success. And that's what happens. The anger doesn't create success. It creates you to lose. All right, that's it. Leaving it at that. Long video again. I like to talk. You can tell. So everybody, really appreciate everybody watching my channel. Share the channel. I think I'm going to hit 10,000 subscribers. Wow. That's, I'm going to tell you right now, I've been doing this YouTube channel now. I started it in I think February or March of 2020. But I did take a time out. I took a time out May of 2020, I think. In April, it's back when the anger was at an all-time high in this country in the spring, summer of 2020. Does anyone remember this? What instigated that? Which side instigated the anger? Is anybody figuring this stuff out? I mean, it's really bad. And so I just took a time out because I didn't like it. I didn't like what I was seeing, and I just didn't want to be on the social media side of, oh, look at me, everything's great, because things aren't great. It's not. I understand that. I get that. So I took a total time out. But anyways, whole point is, it's been a lot of work, a lot of time. I enjoy talking, as you can tell. And I really do appreciate all those who have subscribed to me. And it's not easy. I mean, this is a lot of work. But I tell you what, I enjoy working. That's just who I am. I like to give. And, if you look around, you just understand. People around me that know me, I've done a lot for others, to help others. Some, I'm sure, look at me like, oh, it's all about him, all about him. Well, you don't have to watch the channel. You got plenty more channels out there to watch other guy that's all about him, or all the girls that like to show and flaunt everything they have, all about them, right? So it gets heavy and deep. All right, hey, that's it. I'm done. Do I get a video of me going over my Ford Mustang Dark Horse today? That would be really cool, right? But they got to get all prepped and ready, and I don't want to go over there late this afternoon. But I got to go to work. So everybody, thanks so much. God bless. Appreciate all the nice comments. Stay safe and have a great day. And hey, it's Black Friday. Go buy something. I am, right?